Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now the middle of November and we're only getting very close to the official release of the Book of Boba Fett TV series that's really going to connect to The Mandalorian Season 3. Again, like I said before, both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have said this many times. They're treating the Book of Boba Fett as The Mandalorian 2.5. It's going to take place in present time for Boba Fett as well as going back during the events in between Empire and Return of the Jedi. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there. I do post a couple of fun and entertaining things on there from time to time and interact with you guys further. So we're now in a very interesting position for Star Wars because we already know that a lot of things are beginning to brew for the franchise already. We already have over a dozen projects that are currently in the works over at Lucasfilm that will eventually be unveiled at Star Wars Celebration, so keep your calendars marked for May of 2022. It's going to be a big event. We're going to be learning a lot more about the Star Wars movies, the TV shows, exactly when they're going to be released, and exactly which projects come before or after other projects out there. So the thing about Jon, George, and Dave is that they really are working together as a trio, alright? They're all working together to really bring Star Wars back on track, to really kind of borrow a lot of fan-favorite aspects of Star Wars Legends into live-action fashion. And that's exactly what they're trying to do right now. That's exactly what they're going to be doing with The Mandalorian Season 3 and, of course, other shows out there like the Ahsoka Tano series and other TV shows that we're going to be talking about later on this year as well. So what's really all the more exciting is exactly what major changes are happening behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm between Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, George Lucas, etc., even Disney CEO Bob Chapek. Now, with that all being done and said, alright, now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are getting ready to make big announcements at Star Wars Celebration of 2022, they are also developing new Star Wars lore that is going to fit in with the new Star Wars series and films that will be a part of the extensive roster of these projects for the next couple of years. Now, it's described, however, that creators George Lucas and Jon Favreau are doing the impossible for Star Wars by bringing back the highlights of Star Wars Legends into live-action form. It's described that for The Mandalorian Season 4 that is set to debut in 2024 and will hold a brand new title but will be considered the continuation of the Mando series. However, it's described that George Lucas and Jon Favreau recently ended and cancelled a huge Star Wars project that was in the works for a very long time that was actually greenlit by Lucasfilm some years ago, and that this project was going to be a High Republic Star Wars TV series that would be set during the earlier days of that particular era. Lucasfilm had initiated the show before Jon Favreau came on board for Star Wars, and that now both Lucas and Favreau made the right call to cancel the series after holding a very important meeting and discussion with the higher-ups over at Disney. Now, further, it's described that this High Republic Star Wars series was going to be done by new writers and directors that have never really been recognized in Hollywood before, and that the story was going to focus more so on the peaceful times of the Jedi, as well as the Jedi Order, with younger Yoda as one of the main focuses. However, Lucasfilm creatives wanted to actually make this a very high-budget Star Wars TV series that was going to play with tons of risks. Lucas and Favreau were not all that impressed with the direction of the series and have since had it cancelled, and that it is now being replaced with a brand new Star Wars series that will focus on both Grand Admiral Thrawn as well as Ezra Bridger during their time in the Unknown Regions, and that this show is going to have a major connection to the Ahsoka Tano series. Now let me just stop right here for 1 second. In case you guys did not know, Lucasfilm kind of wants to low-key do exactly what Marvel did, of how each and every project connects to the other one, and how every project is like a big piece to the puzzle. That's what Star Wars is actually doing now, of course, with all of these new TV shows and films. So basically the Ahsoka show is going to be a main Star Wars series. They're treating it as an event series. And then this Ezra and Thrawn show, it's going to answer more of the mysterious questions that may not be answered in the Ahsoka show, if that makes sense. Moving on. So meanwhile, Lucasfilm is still trying to create a live-action High Republic project, whether it be a movie or TV show that they want to do eventually. They wanted to eventually adapt something from those books in the near future. Both Lucas and Favreau have not been so impressed with the High Republic timeline, as they feel there is far less conflict, which takes away from any kind of tension or struggles for the main characters, like, of course, in the Skywalker saga films did. Now, given that Favreau and Lucas greenlit a Thrawn and Ezra TV series that will be announced at Celebration next year, they are also set to actually make some retcons to the High Republic era, with an animated TV series that is actually in the works that will take place before the events of Episode 1. Now, George, Jon, and Dave are trying to make sure that Star Wars can stay on the course of success for many years. So here's the thing about all of this, alright? This is a very interesting route to go. The fact that George and Jon actually pretty much convinced Disney CEO Bob Chapek to cancel this High Republic show altogether, to get rid of it, to put it back, into, behind the scenes and just leave it in the trash, essentially. I think that was a good move. I don't think a lot of fans out there necessarily want a high-budget High Republic TV show because of that main reason. There's not as much conflict in the High Republic books and comics, or whatever, the books and the novels. Now, the thing about that, when you look at Star Wars stories, or any kind of story out there is always conflict. There's always a conflict between two characters, usually, right? You always need something like that. And to take away that conflict, it kind of takes away the aspect of tension. Now, sure, the High Republic has characters like the Nile, those types of villains, but to me as a fan, honestly, they're not really all that on the same exact level as the Sith in any way, shape, or form, or regular dark side users. They're just not. I'm sorry, but they're just not in my opinion. So, the fact that they got Chapek to erase that, put it on the back end, and how they're now focusing on a Grand Admiral Thrawn and Ezra Bridger series that's going to be announced next year, so keep your eyes open for Star Wars Celebration. That to me is a far better choice, because number one, we're familiar with those characters, number two, we're going to be learning more about the unknown regions, and number three, it's going to show us the strange relationship between a villain and a hero, and exactly how that's really going to correspond with the Ahsoka Tano series on her path to finding and saving Ezra Bridger. So those two TV shows are going to go hand in hand, just how Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett go hand in hand. That's their overall plan. They want some of these TV shows to kind of like work together as two shows, but in one, essentially. We have Book of Boba and Mando working together. We now have this Thrawn and Ezra Bridger show working together with the Ahsoka show. They want to do the same exact thing eventually with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series that's going to work hand in hand with that show that's going to be announced also at Celebration. So, Celebration 2022, Lucasfilm is aiming to make this by far the best one in a very long time. In fact, maybe even a better one than what we actually had with the sequel trilogy films. Celebration is all about announcements, and that's exactly what we've been waiting for a very long time. I think that obviously, given that Celebration of 2020, when it was canceled, unfortunately, it could have had a lot of value, it could have had a lot of surprises in there, but looking at everything now, the fact that we have D23 coming up, we have Investor Day coming up very soon, they're really preparing some announcements for those events, but nothing as significant as Star Wars Celebration will be. And that's exactly what they're holding off for, because they know Celebration 2022 is going to be a big one. We really didn't have a Celebration in a very long time, and they really want to make it great. So, anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know about all this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.